Well, we're back with Cliff Oxford, the founder of the Oxford Center for Entrepreneurs and New York Times and Forbes blogger. Speaking of New York Times and blogging, the New York Times just released this past week an article on nonprofit hospitals last year having their worst financial performance since the Great Depression. In fact, they analyzed 383 hospital systems, and they're doing much poorer. When these systems, these nonprofit systems, are usually used to having a 7% more increase in revenue per year. 7%, Cliff. That's a big revenue. What business? I mean, that's a real business, isn't it? 7%.
7%. Yes. First of all, why aren't they for profit? I mean, is that a bad word? Can you not say for profit with hospital?
Well, there are some
motivation. So
what? Yeah,
but
that's right. Well, I have some ideas we're going to get to.
Well, I was. I tell you, you and I discussed this 5 years ago, and you asked me about healthcare, and I said, Jeff, it's going to become a lot like the restaurant industry. You're going to have fast food. You're going to have McDonald's. You're going to have Applebee's. You're going to have Red Lobster, and then you're going to have the more expensive health care. And
that's right. You did say that.
I went by, I'm looking at this Joint. Have you seen this thing called the Joint?
No, I haven't. What is it?
Chiropractor. You pay $49. You can go all you want.
$49
a month.
It sounds like a gym membership.
Same folks who did Massage Envy is doing this. And, and if you go in there, it's about a 5-minute visit. They reset you and you go out the door. Now, that is good health care.
Wow.
I would argue.
I got to tell you, that is a disruptor.
Don't you think? It's huge. And so how are these nonprofit hospitals that move, like a slower than an elephant, going to compete against this health care that is being transformed?
I tell you, I think I have some answers for that, and we're going to delve into it. And I'm going to tell you, it's uncomfortable. But before we get to that, I tell you, I'm just blown away by what you just told me about the Joint. And so I wonder what the chiropractic community is going to do. I need to find a chiropractor, a doctor of chiropractic, and get them in here.
You need to ask them about the Joint because, boy, that one is the bomb going off in their industry right now. $49. Just for the fun of it, because I like to learn. I like to see what people are doing. I joined. I gave them my $49, and
right.
They hit your credit card. Because, Jeff, recurring revenue.
Recurring revenue. That's why I like having you on the show, Cliff.
There's a lot of value of predictable cash flow, recurring revenue.
And that is, but it's good for consumers because, it is about their health, their money, and their choice. And if they can find health care the way they want it, and it's a great system. So how long has this place been open?
Well, they've got like 6 or 7 places here in Atlanta, I think, at least 6, 7, 8. They have opened pretty rapidly. And
they're for profit.
They are for profit, absolutely.
Very entrepreneurial.
And you know what? You go in there and you do your key swab, and it updates their system automatically that you're in the office. There's nobody keying in anything. It's just an automatic, okay, here's Cliff. Is no, you walk in. There's no no appointment. It's got all the good stuff. I mean, this is McDonaldization of healthcare.
Wow, that's incredible. And so you think about these nonprofits. Who wants to be, a nonprofit? When you've got somebody that is a for profit. Well, let me go through some things, and I want to do it for you and our listeners. I've made it my goal to understand the business of the healthcare industry. And I don't claim to be the expert, but I know a lot, and I'm going to share it with you. What happens in nonprofits, Cliff? I'm going to tell you something you do know, and this is why they're nonprofit. Nonprofits do not have to pay taxes on their income because they do not disburse it. Okay, it's not given to shareholders. So they wind up keeping all that money. They don't pay property taxes. And there's probably another list. But being a nonprofit means that you are a part of the community, that you're serving a community service. So But I want every one of our listeners here to know, how can you find out about nonprofits? You can find out by going to a website called GuideStar.org. GuideStar.org. And now, most of the information is free because nonprofits have to report to the federal government their financial information. So we're able to find it. Once again, we're here with Cliff Oxford, the founder of the Oxford Center for Entrepreneurs and New York Times and Forbes blogger. Cliff, let's talk about nonprofit hospitals. Again, with this decline, a report by the New York Times this past week that they're struggling. Here in Georgia, as another example, they're thinking about developing what are called free-standing emergency rooms. And it's a way to help rural hospitals in particular survive. Instead of closing them, then they will have emergency departments that are there to take care of your needs emergently. And that's the biggest issue about healthcare in rural Georgia, is that we close these hospitals and people die because they can't get emergent health care. So I think it's a great idea. What's the problem they're having? Well, Medicaid and Medicare pay these entities, these emergency departments, differently than they do the hospital. Okay, and we're finding out that, and that's one thing that we need is transparency. So we're going to come back to transparency in Medicaid in our next segment. Right now, I want to get back to the nonprofits though, and nonprofit hospitals. You think, wow. You go to the store, and I saw this happen, Cliff. It almost broke my heart. I was at Kroger. I was checking out. There was a mother, and she was holding one child because it was an infant, and then the other by the hand. You could tell, she had just come from work. I don't know if she was a single mom or not, but, empathetic, was sweet to see them. And the cashier said, listen, would you like to donate $1 to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, which we all know and love as an institution here in Atlanta. And she said, absolutely, let me help them out. And I got to tell you, I almost wanted to say something, but she felt good about giving, and that's the point. But again, I'm going to step on something here, and it's going to hurt. But Children's Healthcare of Atlanta is the most profitable children's healthcare system in the United States, if not the world. You can go to GuideStar and you can find that information. In fact, I'm going to share a little bit of it with you. Again, public knowledge, fact. Okay, in 2012, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta had a profit of over $92 million. $92 million. 2011, a profit of over $60 million. And here this mother is going to...
Just the one here in Atlanta?
Just the one here in Atlanta that consists of Scottish Rite, Eggleston, and Hugh Spalding. Now, don't misunderstand, they do a lot of good, but let's have some transparency, okay? Let's not be asking people who probably can't afford to donate. Well, when we think about donations, they raised, in their programs, it's called Program Services here, they raised $1.5 million through all of their charitable efforts. Sponsor them, give $1 here out of your pocket, and they spent about a third of that money putting these programs together.
Wow.
Okay, so they spent 33% of the charitable giving. So anyway,
now they're a nonprofit.
They're a nonprofit. They do not pay taxes on that $92 million. And they're asking us to help support them more through charitable giving. Listen, I'm not against that, but let's have some transparency, because I think a lot of people say, I could use this money and put it to better use instead of a hospital system that's making $92 million, right? And we all love children's, but let's wake up and smell the coffee on this.
Absolutely. That's just shocking to me. I'm sitting here, and we all want to give to, because you think you're helping a child, but
right,
and that's what we want to do. But that dollar she delivered, you're telling me 33 cents of it went to all the programs they're doing.
All the the money, the overhead, ask for that money.
The overhead to ask for that money. That is that is astronomical in the world of that arena.
Nonprofits.
You need to 9 to 10 cents is even kind of considered high. Well, I hope that's what entrepreneurship does to healthcare, is put transparency into it.
Yes.
Letting the customer know, hey, this is how much it costs. This is what we got. If it does that, healthcare is going to improve
absolutely
in the country if we just get transparency on it. So, but I even for nonprofits, I mean, there's the reason I would rather them be a for-profit, because nothing has helped, no program, nothing else has helped people move out of poverty more than the profit motive.
I agree. And to hold that thought, we'll be right back and talk about transparency some more. You're listening to Doc Talk on Talk Radio 640 WGST.